Hello friends, welcome to ADO.NET tutorial. In this video, we will see how to traverse between two data relation by using the method calls. In our previous video, we established the data relation and we saw how data grid view automatically implemented the navigation. In this video, we will make use of this list view and we will traverse the relation at runtime dynamically by making the specific method calls. So simply here we will traverse data table via data relation object and its methods. In the last video, we talked about linking the data table by setting the relationship between publisher to employee and employee to jobs. In the previous video, we saw that data relation maintains parent-child relationship, right? We used the data grid view to perform the navigation and filtering via data relation. We can also perform such navigation using data table methods, which uses the data relation, right? So we can perform such navigation using data table methods, which uses the data relation, because we already linked the data table using the data relations. When we have a parent row of a data table, we can get all the child rows via the data relation, because the data tables are now linked, right? If you see, the publisher table is linked to employee and the employee table is linked with the jobs table via the corresponding data relation objects. The same way we can locate the parent row of a given child row, right? Once we have parent row, we can locate the child row. When we have a parent row of a data table, we can get all the child row. The same way we can locate parent row of a given child, right? If you have parent, you can locate the child, and if you have child row, you can locate the parent. So parent to child is possible and child to parent is also possible via the data relation. To make this runtime navigation possible, we must load the data table using the missing schema action add with key. So the find method of the data row collection, right? Data row collection from your data table. The find method of the data row collection will take a primary key value and locate the row. So you can find the row using the find method. Once the row is in hand, the located row can be a parent row or it can be a child row, depending on the data relation maintained by the dataset. In our case, if we located a row in the employee, it can be a parent row for the emp to job relation and child row for the pub to emp relation. We know that we have two relations, right? For simplicity reason, let's state relation 1, and the relation 1 is for publisher and employee, right? We have one more relation also, R2, and that one is setting the relation between employee and jobs. So in our case, if we located a row in employee table using the find method, so this is the employee data table, right? And let's state that you located a specific row in the employee table, and this specific row will act as a child row if we use the relation 1 up to emp, and this will act as a row, that means the same row act as a parent for the second relation emp to job, right? In the first relation, pub is the parent and emp is the child. In the second relation, emp is the parent and job is the child, right? So that's what here we are specifying. In our case, if we located a row in employee, it can be a parent row for emp to job relation, that's R1 in the picture, and child row for the pup to emp relation, that is R2, right? For pup to emp, it is the child, and for emp to job, sorry, emp to job is R2 here, and the pup to emp is R1, right? So it depends on which relation the row is participating. Of course, here using the data table find method, you will be locating a row, and based on the relation, the record can be treated as a parent or child. The GetChildRows method returns all the children of a given parent, and GetParent gives the parent row of a given child. So using this relation, when you located a row, you can make a call to GetParent, because here you located the child row for this relation R1, and you can make a call to GetParent. But for the same record through R2, you can make a call to GetChild. One can also use GetParents when there are multiple parents. Example, in emp to job relation 2, emp to job, when there are multiple parents, I mean, in emp to job, employee is the parent and job is the child, right? So for a given child, there can be multiple parent here in this relation via R2. When we have child row, a job here, we can use GetParents to know all the employees playing a specific job role. When we created the relation, we intentionally specified the fourth parameter as false to state we don't want to have any primary foreign key relation, because here the emp will act as a parent, and definitely there will be multiple repeated column for the job ID here, right? Because multiple employee can play a same job. So that's why we intentionally kept the fourth parameter when creating the data relation as false for this one. So now from child point of view, a child can have multiple parent. That means here we are picking a job row, and the job can be played by multiple employee. Alright, now let's go to the demo and you will get a more picture. Now we will implement the set publisher to titles, and here if you see from SQL adapter we are filling our DSPub. So this time we are picking data from titles table, right? And we specified the pubs connection string here. After this, from the adapter, we are stating that a missing schema action has add with the key. Then we are making call to fill, and our DS publisher, that means the dataset, is filled with the titles table. Now our dataset contains 4 tables: publisher, employees, jobs, and titles. Next we set the relationship also. dspubs.relations.add new data relation, and relationship name is pubs to title. Parent key, the parent column is from publisher table pub id. The child is from title table publisher id. And here we states that use the constraints. That means here we are stating that pub id in publisher will be unique, and the publisher id will not be repeated here in this table. And here we are stating title table publisher id is the referential column. So we created the relationship between publisher and this newly added title table. Alright, we set the relationship between publisher and titles table. Now we will fill this list box for the selected publishers. So here we will manually, here we will walk through the relation and fetch the relevant records and then populate that in that list box. So get publisher book titles, that's what we are going to implement. Here, if you see, first we cleared the list items on this. Then DGV publishers, so this is the DGV publishers grid, and selected rows will give all the selected rows on that specific data grid view. And data grid view selected row collection, so in this reference we are storing all the selected rows. After that, here we are forming a for each. After that, here we are forming the for each loop, and we are iterating through the selected rows. Since this is the data grid view selected rows collection, each iteration will give us the data grid view row. So we will be getting a single row of the selected rows. Inside the for each, use the primary key cell of data grid view and get parent row from data table. So here if you see DSPubs, this is our data set. We know that the data set at present contains publisher, jobs, employees, as well as titles. We are picking the publisher data table, and then from that data table we are retrieving the data row collection, and from that data row collection we are making call to the find method. Our intention is to find a single row, so DGV row cells of 0 value, right? Cells of 0 in the sense the very first cell that will give us the publisher ID. So here we are passing the publisher ID of the selected row. Remember, here we are already in the for each loop, and each iteration will give you a single selected row, and from that single selected row we are picking a single cell value that gives us the publisher ID. So here we are locating a single row. We can see, we can say, if user selected multiple row, we are finding the row one by one, and we are calling that as a parent row here. From publisher, we are picking a parent row or a publisher row, right? So once after locating the parent row, we can make use of GetChildRows method, right, from the data row, parent row dot GetChildRows, and to this method we are passing the data relation. From the tooltip you can see it expects a data relation, and there are overloads also, but here we are passing the data the data relation. The data relation is from DSPubs relations.pubs to title. If you see here, relations.add, here we added the data relation, and the relation name is pubs to titles. Right here, parent row is publisher ID and child row is the publisher ID from the titles table. That means for a given parent row, we are locating all the titles. DSPubs relations pubs to title, that is the relation we are giving for the given parent row, and this will give all the child row, which is nothing but the data row collection or data row array. So what we located in terms of this relation pubs to title is a parent row. Why? Because we picked a row from the publisher table. So if you picked a row in the titles table, then it is treated as a child row, and you can make a call to GetParent. Title belongs to single publication, so you can make use of GetParent. But if the located row was a job title, and if parent is employee, you can make use of GetParents in the plural form. Alright, here in this example, we located the publisher and we passed the publisher to titles. So we make use of GetChildRows from the parent row, right? So for a given publisher, here our intention is to find all the titles, and the title is here in data row collection. Now we can form one more for each loop, right? This is child rows. For each child rows, we are forming the for each, right? The data row is displayed here, and now through the relation we are moving to the child row. From child row, right, list items dot add, that means here this is our list box, right? From there we are picking the items collection and we are making call to add. From parent row we are picking the publisher name, right? Then from child row we are picking the title. So for a given parent there may be multiple child, so we are printing all the child in the list box. Finally we are adding a line separator after the for each loop, and then we will go back here to the for each again and pick the second selected row, and for the second selected publisher we will once again print all the titles. So what you have to note here is the find method. Using the find method we are locating the row. Once the row is located, we can make use of GetChildRows or GetParent or GetParents, right? So you can walk through the relation using the method like this, right? So for this method we also give the relation name. Now we will rebuild this solution. Now we have two event routine. First, in the pub title click, we retrieve the data and store that in the DSPubs, and DSPubs will have a new table called titles, that means data table. After that we establish the relation between the publisher that was already added and to this new title, right? Publisher is the parent and the title acts as the child. After that btn fetch titles click, this button click, we locate the parent row, and from the located parent row we will get the child rows. Then we will iterate through the content and print that in the list box. Let's run this. Now here we are retrieving the title table and setting the relationship between publisher and the titles. So to completely select a row, You can click the area here and you can see the row is selected here. When I make call to get publisher book title, it will show okay. So this is the location. Here we have to put adapter dot missing schema action add with key. So here now we will not be getting that error. Alright, now we will rebuild the solution and we can walk through the relation. Fill publishers, fill employees, fill jobs, set the navigation, then create a table title and set the relationship between publisher and titles. Now we will pick a specific row and click on the get publisher book titles, and you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 titles that belongs to Bennett and Handley. Argo data info systems. Let's click here, and if you see now we are walking between the relation at a runtime based on the DataRow methods. We can also select multiple row by holding down the control key, and when I click here you can see the publisher and its corresponding books are displayed. So we retrieved this title information based on the DataRelation object. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.